allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, so we'll open the meeting with the Geauga County Agricultural Society. Will give a presentation.
Yeah.
You guys got to rush up. There's only 2 chairs. Christie brought you another chair.
Well, there was an empty parking place already in reserve.
That's for you.
I pretty well took it. Worked there for 10 years, for another day won't matter, right? Morning. Thank you
Good morning.
for having us here. I guess we thank you for a lot of things, including the land that we have, building the whole affair. This will be 192nd edition. We do spend some time the last couple of years talking about 200 and what we might do, what kind of program we might have, what we might do different or special. Certainly, I think at the store, what we're trying to do is continue to collect ideas. Anybody has any thoughts, ideas? We all hope we'll be here in 8 more years.
Let's hope.
In some fashion. I'd prefer to be a retired honorary director at that time.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bob Rogish was on the board last year, was president, and he did have one more year he could have served as president, but he chose not to run for re-election. So I had to go out and find somebody that was willing to step up and take the flag that comes with the job sometimes. So
Oh, you're good at that.
I've done enough of it, I guess, in my life.
Yeah, you know how to do it.
Although I tell you what, I've seen some on TV recently. I said, boy, I'm glad I'm not.
Really?
I'm not North Olmsted with the water flowing in people's basements and stuff. I said, I've had enough of those. The Fair family's had a little tough year so far. If you're aware, Jerry Blair passed away. He was the current director, and we had 2 honorary directors who passed away this year: Pete Mansfield and Bob McKenna. So we've lost 3 members of our fair group. And I think you've been kind of aware, we have been having a changeover in directors also. Right now we have 19 of 21 seats filled. Of those, 10 have less time than I do, and I've been there 6 years. So we have a fair number of new members. And obviously the older members are fewer and fewer as time goes on. So that gives, I think, at times the fair a little new look, a little new perspective to look at things, how we do it. But at the same time, our goal is to provide, an agricultural show for the 4-H kids and the farmers and producers in the county. With that, I understand you are having an evening meeting, once a month?
Yeah.
We would offer the grounds to you if you would ever like to use that, as long as it's not the 3rd Thursday of the month. And we also would certainly invite you to have your meeting on Thursday at the fair, the opening day of the fair like we have in the past. We certainly invite you to come to that. Also, Geauga Learns is that day. It usually starts while you're in your meeting, but then you have the opportunity, if you want to, come over at the 1 o'clock area or something, or 1:15 when they get ready to leave. Usually we do get a chance to say something to the kids before they leave. And they have added Chardon to the mix this year, so we anticipate having 650 kids.
Wow.
That's a handful, big time. We made it clear that we can't handle that alone, so there's been some efforts to provide some help to us. We're gonna have 6 groups, so they'll all be over 100 kids in each group, and they gotta wander around the fairgrounds in about 3 hours.
Yeah, 2-3 hours, right?
Yeah, start about 9:30, and by 12:30.
Get a lunch in there.
By 12:30, they've all had lunch, and they're all moved over to the small grandstand to watch the last part of the chicken flying contest, and then they go from there to the main grandstand before they get in their buses and go home and stuff.
Most of those come from where?
We started out with Kenston and West G.
Okay.
That was our goal, was to bring in the west side. You don't normally seem to know where Burton is.
Yep.
And we've invited, I know they've invited Joan of Arc and St. Anselm's. St. Anselm's did show this year, I think they're gonna come. They showed to me we had, so I think they're gonna come to the fair. And I think they invited St. Mary's here in Chart. This is all sixth graders. 'Cause,
Sixth graders.
So we're covering sixth graders from the two Western plus Chardon. And well, last year, we give the kids a ticket when they leave. We'll actually get a ticket for a milkshake that they can, because we're not gonna do it that day. So they can bring that back with them, and we also get admission for two, so their parents can come back. And we got 240 tickets, which would be about, we figure about almost 500 people. We assume every ticket was 2 people.
Wow.
So we got, out of the 450 kids that were last year, half returned. Now,
With the parents.
yeah,
Part.
right,
With the parent.
yeah. So I mean, that was part of the goal, was to get them interested in it and to bring them back. I'd say 50% return was pretty successful.
Yeah, that is. That's smart.
Yeah, and I don't, we didn't keep track of what day they came back or anything like that, but they did come back and spend some time at the fair, which is what we wanted to do. I mean, I hope they're new people. We always like to show
Yeah.
people.
That program was new last year? Giving them the
This
ticket, or they've been running it for a while?
We,
Okay.
ever since we began, we've been giving them a ticket to get back in.
Okay,
Done a little
okay.
different ways a couple times, that process changed a little bit, but they've always gotten the ticket to come back, afterwards. Yeah,
Probably 6 years down the road.
Yeah, we're about 6 years
About
down the
6
road.
years down the road.
yeah. And it's, the first couple of years, it was just Kenston and West G, and then they started adding in parochial schools in those areas, and then this year, we for sure add Chardon to the mix. There is a limit of what we can do. I mean, we
Yeah.
can't add any more after this, I don't think.
No.
Because we're gonna end with 6 rotations and actually 4 programs, a couple of broken into 2 pieces, so we can cover everybody.
And through all those days, Bob, how many people will come through the fair?
Well-
Last year, they had 203,000.
Wow.
3,000,
Yeah, we're proud to put on a good show that people wanna come to.
Yeah, yeah.
And that we have people standing in line for both entries and also exhibitors and fair food people or whatever, There's always people that want to come to the fair, want to come to this fair, and we do have competition. Canfield's the same time we are, and so isn't Stark County. So it has to be people from, Lake Nashville and Geauga and part of Geauga County that come here on that Labor Day weekend. So we're always looking for ways to promote the fair and bring them here. One of those is entertainment. We've been putting on a free show on Friday night. This year, we'll actually have 2 shows on Friday night, one at 6 and one at 8 o'clock. The first one at 6 o'clock is Shotgun Red. If you remember, he was on the extravaganza, the fair managers, about 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
I remember Steve Hopper, he
Yeah.
was on Hee Haw, and he had the
Yeah.
puppet and the blind guy that
Sure.
Yeah.
sings and stuff.
Yep. When we
So-
first saw him, he was out on some Alaskan tour over Labor Day for about 3 years or something.
Right,
So we
he
couldn't
was
get him.
always employed by them.
So he's out of that contract now, so we got him to come here. He's got his lady singer and the black guy guitar player and singer, and then of course Shotgun Red will show up, so we'll have to put shows over. We're gonna have a noon show over at Midway Stage for the Senior Day on Friday, and then he'll be there for a 6 o'clock show at the small grandstand, which again is a free show. So we thought about Kiss, but we said,
I like those guys, they were really cool.
The one guy's from Geauga County, for gosh sake.
I thought maybe we'd get him to come over just to
Just
see
by
it.
himself.
I mean, you'd be surprised, a lot of people
Long
like
tongue
that.
on the guy, that's all that's it.
Yeah, his mom still lives here.
Well, the other ones are Twinsburg or something, a couple of,
Yeah.
they do live in northeast Ohio. a couple of
Yeah,
them.
the whole group is from northeastern
I
Ohio.
mean, they had a good show, I mean, they
Yeah,
really,
they
that was explosive.
They had a lot of bookings out of that.
A lot of bookings, I bet.
What about the
they did.
family? Did you try for those?
You know
The
what?
family with the 12,
Oh, yeah.
You know
they
what?
were great, yeah.
I'll tell you how fast it changed. That night, they were supposedly were 10,000. And so we had some conversation when we talked to their promoter. By the time we got paperwork in March or April, it was 15,000.
Whoa.
If you missed them, last week they were on America's Got Talent. I don't think they're 15,000 anymore.
Yeah, probably up
Now,
there now.
they'll go to a second round. I don't know how many people are in that, I don't even know how that necessarily works, but I did, one of the directors texted me, he said, hey, they're on TV right now. And I got the tail end of it. I mean, they are an extremely talented family, and they are so new to this business, they didn't know they could get rooms and meals and stuff. They've been doing all that on their own. they found out, oh, there's some money to be had.
Yeah, they were good.
That was
We
it.
really
Exploded on the
enjoyed
scene.
it, yeah.
But yeah, they're,
What was the name of the family?
Willis.
Willis.
The
Yeah,
Willis.
Willis.
clan.
Whether it's like
Willis
12,
Yeah.
and a little tiny one, and all the way up to the big ones, all the.
Yeah, they
all the
didn't
good
even have,
sizes.
the mother didn't perform with them when they were on TV. I saw her and her husband walk out later when they were talking to the kids afterwards. Last thing I got is certainly, we always appreciate and thank you for your efforts on the community development. You know, we were approved for a grant, we've already awarded that contract. I don't know if you've signed it yet, but.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
did on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay. And for a quick explanation, again, it's going behind the Rotary Building. There will be a paved parking area for handicap in there, and plus we'll do that road all the way up, and that's gate 9, there comes up by the draft horse barns and stuff,
Yeah.
all the way up to the small grants, actually to the main midway, that's the
Oh,
small
that's
grants.
good, I'll pay you.
And that leads to, and we had, we didn't quite meet the standards on the restroom there, it's at Merchants 2, but we're doing that, so we're correcting that, we've redone that, so it meets the standards. So we'll have direct access from a handicap parking area to a handicap bathroom. So, plus we get some pavement that's been pretty well beat up, that needs to be fixed, so it works out great for us.
See,
I just thank you for all your support. It means a lot. I know when we go to the OPMA convention, the fact that you guys are there impresses a lot of counties. They don't get the support that we get. And I just thank you for that very much.
That's fair, that's fair.
We think so.
Canton big, yeah, they're big, but we're still the best.
You know anything to say?
Paul, you're
Oh,
speechless.
mackerel.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. we've
I'm
got-
only here for questions.
You're hypocrite.
We've got Fair Manager Pass, that'll let you into any fair, including the state fair in the county. And the parking pass is for your vehicle, whether you'll have a spot along the fence, so if you pull in there by the Patterson Center, that's gate 2.
At our fair. At our fair.
Yeah.
Yes, at our
Yeah.
fair.
Boy, this is early. Got
Isn't it?
this, you're really early, yeah, really.
We're on the ball this year.
Oh, you always are at the ball, but really.
I don't know about that.
RL cracking the whip.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
He does watch me on Wednesday.
Thank
You
you.
you missed me when I went on vacation. Yeah, gate 2 is by the Patterson Center, you come in there and you can go to the right and park along the fence, there'll be a place with your name on it, on the fence to park for all 5 days of the fair. And you also do have box seats for all the events at the grandstand now. You need to pick those tickets up at the office, but there are tickets there that would give you box seats. Or there's 2 demolition derbies and the 2 truck pulls. Those are the 4 events we have at
Those
the,
are truck pulls.
at there.
Those are truck pulls.
I guess other than that, if any
Oh, look at that.
any thoughts you guys might have, any questions you might have about the fairgrounds or how it goes? Oh, I know what I did want to mention. The small grandstand is wood-sided right now, and it does take quite a beating. We are siding that this year with metal, vinyl, I guess, with metal, metal siding. And we are redoing the roof. The roof was starting to get bad too, so luckily we can do both those together. We did have some kids paint the inside, the seats and stuff last year, so it's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's tough building, wood buildings are tough. I mean, most of the stuff we build these days is not wood. It just takes so much beating on the weather, especially since they're all here, without not a whole lot of activity sometimes.
Yeah, about 10,000 in electrical back in this year.
Is that where the horses? How's that? You doing stuff there?
Yeah,
Horses?
that's a lot of horse stuff. There in the
Yeah.
east ring are the 2 places.
Yeah.
The small grandstand does some hitch classes,
Yeah.
the pony pull is there.
The pony pool, and then the special, you bring those special Clydesdale in there. You know, they bring that's really
That's
impressive,
nice, but
very impressive.
from a financial point,
To
we're
see
still,
those horses.
we're still committed on the loan for the sheet barn and the
Sheep
sewer
barn.
lines
Yeah.
for a few years, but we've still got close to 100 and somewhere between 100 and 125,000 back in capital this year between, on top of the paving
Wow.
money, so we shoot for that every year, that's our goal, that's where we're
Yeah.
at this year, between roofs and painting and deciding that grandstand and stuff there.
And we made a bunch of electrical changes last year. Everything is so old, by just changing bulbs sometimes we start to save money. And we've also We'll also just cut a 6-year deal on our electrical service for supplier. I think that'll help stabilize no matter what happens with electricity here, regardless of what they're talking about. So we've got a good rate right now, but it's a little over 6 cents. So, because we have such a huge peak, during that 1 week, you have to make sure you get somebody that doesn't hammer you for that. So it accomplish that task. Yeah, it's about, the fair's nominally $1 million. And so if we can pull 100 out of that a year for capital improvements, that's usually as good as it gets to be. And with 67, 68 buildings, whatever it is, that's a lot to chase those buildings around and keep them up.
Roads don't cost what they used to cost.
Nothing costs
Nothing
what it used
costs
to
what it
cost.
used Did they have a provision there? I remember a few years ago, could be 2, could be 3, whatever. One evening there was a power outage there. And we, a lot of the attractions had to shut down because of lighting. I mean, apparently if you run an incandescent light bulb, it'll run on until you're out of power, but if you have fluorescent lights, they gotta have enough power to get the booster or the ballast going.
We've, I don't know if we 100% addressed that, we did address it.
We've addressed it to the, I mean, it's out of our hands, is what it comes down to. First Energy doesn't have the capability of getting the power into the fairgrounds.
Right, I just
Where the
didn't know if
issues-
there was
the
emergency
Issues
lighting
outside the
available.
grounds, they've hardwired us in now, so that if it goes this time,
Mm-hmm,
we're not gonna be the only ones dark.
Yeah.
okay.
There's gonna be a lot of areas dark, but.
Northeastern United States.
Certainly important.
That's, I think what Bob alluded to, we went through last year, right, I mean, even up to the day before the fair, we cleaned every Home Depot, every service center out we could have, bulbs, and replaced bulbs to try and break that load down. And then we actually activated an emergency text messaging system that the sheriff provided us last year. We've got all our directors, auxiliary, junior fair coordinators, and specific concessions and stuff on the ground on an emergency text system, so that if we had an emergency at a gate or somewhere on the ground, we could send out a blast and bring everybody together. Of course, we had an emergency plan, but we used that last year too. And Bob's choice to, at the end, in the middle of the day, I guess it was about noon, we'd send that out each day and ask everybody to cut the lights on all the barns and buildings and stuff that they need them in.
Sure.
It made a big difference. We
Made a
watched
big
the loads
difference.
on them coming in, and just
Yeah, it
shutting the
was
lights
dark
off.
going out that night, I remember.
Just shutting the lights off in the middle of the day got us through the peak, and once we got through the peak, we were able to get past it, so.
Wasn't the same year we had the problem with the campground, was that was the year before.
The campground was the year after, and we thought we fixed the first problem.
We've
We
updated.
chased it for 2 years.
Yeah, we changed the transformer at the, for the campground. Campgrounds went out the following year.
Oh, sure.
But yeah,
That's been a
and the second day after that happened, we were watching it real close between 4 o'clock and about 7:30. Once you got to 7:30, the sun started to go down. The heat index dropped with that.
Yeah, it was that real hot summer, wasn't it? I mean, everything was overheating.
If we have, I mean, any day we have that kind of weather where it gets up to 85, 90 degrees, we can have a problem. But
Yeah.
we try and keep an eye on it. But nothing's built, he talks about nothing costing the same, nothing's built the same. Our concession trailers aren't the same, we have more concession trailers than we used to have, but they're not built the same, they used to come in and plug in with a 110 cord, and they had one light bulb and they fried waffles and it was no big deal, but they're not like that anymore, they're big multi-million-dollar units that are covered in lights and signs and flashers and the most up-to-date equipment. When they plug in,
You know it.
they take some power out.
Drains.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's one of the tough things with the fair. It's almost 200 years old. Is spaces and buildings have started out doing one thing, and we got to change that a little bit as time goes on. Actually, the campgrounds, the spaces we have aren't exactly what was being used before. I mean, they were smaller spaces before. Now people are bringing in their RVs and stuff, and so they're a little bit bigger. And we've had to adjust the campground spaces and stuff.
But you've all done such a great job with the fairgrounds. I mean, when you go there, it's a pleasure. Using the facilities, the restrooms, I mean, it's not like when you go to other fairs. No comparison. No comparison.
Well, there's one that probably beats us, Portage County.
Portage?
Well, they have a
They
bathroom,
would-
that's the only thing they do.
What did they
John.
do?
They built a new bathroom,
Oh, really?
$250,000.
Whew.
That's, yeah.
And so
Yeah, you can
where did
say
that
it.
come from? Did they pay for that out of their funds, or did they get any kind of, really, $250,000?
I mean, it's nice.
It's nice, huh?
Better be.
It's nice,
I don't-
but outside of that.
And it's $250,000 and it's not a year-round facility. It has to be
No.
drained and, you know, I mean, it's,
To drain the
I mean,
water.
literally, you know, their fair is 5 days. And we don't have, obviously, the summer shows and events that we use, but a lot of money.
The only thing you need is good weather.
No rain, we don't like rain.
If you have nice
Now
weather.
the rain brings the tents.
Yeah, that's, you know, 4 days kind of gets us even.
Yeah.
We need the 5th day to really have a good show. So it can be, you know, it can be cloudy like today, but don't rain.
Yeah, it's a good day.
It's a good day.
And when it's
You don't want it too hot.
blisteringly hot, I notice attendance isn't, you know,
They'll come out, but they won't stay as long.
right.
They'll get
Mid-afternoon, you know, the heat of the day, they're kind of gone, then it picks back up at night.
Yeah.
67.
So it's, 85 degrees is not exactly our friend either. It's the same as 60 and rain. Neither one of those are our friend necessarily.
70, perfect.
So if we get San Diego weather, you
San
ready?
Diego, we're
We
good.
got some San Diego weather, it'd be great. We'll take 5 days to that.
Oh.
And we might even go for the Wednesday before just to keep it dry. So we can park cars. And that's, you know, that's, I mean, you know, all our parking's out in the field. And so if we get an early rain, sometimes it gets really running up bad and you gotta kind of scoot around areas and stuff that got chewed up and not use those areas again because you'll never get them back. But yeah, 4 days will get us even. The 5th day makes it a great fair.
I might add too, we have events going on year-round too. I mean,
Yeah.
like this Saturday is our antique market.
That's
Which
big.
is a good
That's big,
fundraiser
yeah.
for us. We have 2 of them. We have the 4th of July Veterans Fireworks. We have the Rotary bike ride coming up, where they start and stop at the fairgrounds now. It's a big fundraiser, I think, for the veterans group.
Yeah.
We have truck pulls. We got a benefit truck pull this year. And obviously horse shows.
Those horse shows,
Every weekend.
oh, every weekend, all
Every
the time.
weekend there's a horse
Yeah.
show going on, so goat shows. So there is stuff going on year round.
You used to have that, the light show at Christmas, remember they used to do that?
Yeah.
Made it look like GE's.
This
You don't have that.
Saturday, no,
They don't do that.
This
Oh.
Saturday at the Antique Market, the Thrift Hunters TV show will be filming there too.
Oh,
They're gonna do their deal where they follow 2 people around, you know, to buy stuff and then turn it into something.
So if you come down and walk around with a wad of cash like you're gonna buy something, they'll probably follow you around.
Follow you around.
Somebody, if you got a wad of cash, there might be somebody else following.
Well, we
Yeah, like American Pickers.
We do have security. It's,
You never know what you're gonna find.
yeah, it's true. But we do have security, so we're,
Okay.
yeah, actually, we made the plain dealer on this week's, is one thing to do for the summer, so it's more plus for us. And they made the show's gotten bigger, they have more vendors. The main antique show has gotten bigger and bigger. The promoter for it has worked hard to develop the clientele that he has, the vendors who come. And he makes sure he's not competing with somebody else by dates in Ohio.
Yeah.
There's one, the following week in Springfield or something. We made sure he's ahead
Well,
of
don't
that.
you have one in September,
Yeah, same guy
after the
comes back
fair?
in, yeah.
That's a big one too, but sometimes it rains and gets.
Well, and he's moved the date on that to
Oh, has
not
he?
conflict, well, it's the 3rd week now, it used to be the 2nd week.
Oh.
But he moved that date too to not conflict with other
Yeah.
things in the state of Ohio. So he's trying to offer from all Ohio, get people from Columbus to drive up here, look at antiques, that's great. Works for us.
They got some good stuff. That's where I got my record player, the one that you wind up.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Oh, that
I
thing's
agree.
great. You put in different size records and you adjust the wood things for the sound. It's really very cool. I got that, plus the whole, the cabinet that goes with it at a different time there. Yeah, almost like brand new almost. Whoever had it didn't use it much in 100 years. Maybe it was.
All right, that's it, thank you very much.
That's great.
Thank you.
We appreciate your
Thanks,
time,
good to
we
see
appreciate all the support you have, and feel free to come down and use our facilities if you want to. We'd be glad to show you. We did the township trustees down about 4 or 5 years ago for one of their regular meetings, and people will talk about the background and what happens at Fair, why it's.
You guys were down several years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. On that session, we got a people mover out, took a little tour.
Oh, yeah.
Behind the scenes, see where everything's at.
Behind the
when
scenes.
It's not all cluttered up.
Yeah, when it was not, crowded, so you can see where it's at.
Yeah.
It's a big operation pull off.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
See you.
Great job, thanks.
Bye. Well,
Next item on the agenda, we have the Western Reserve Resource Conservation Development Council, RC&D. They'll give a small presentation update here.
We don't bite. Come on.
There, welcome. Don't be afraid. You only bite once.
Hi.
How do you do?
Hello. Blake Rear.
I'm Ralph Smithers. Nice to meet you. How are you?
And Dick Keneally.
Nice to meet you. How are you? I'm Ralph. Nice to meet you.
Don't always get to see.
Dick Keneally.
Hi, Dave.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, I guess it
I haven't seen you for, it must be 15 years. Yeah.
believe it.
I'm Nicole. Do you still live in University Heights?
Daryl wants to. Hi,
Yes.
Daryl.
Still live in University Yeah.
There, how you doing? I'm Ralph. Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Thanks very much.
You guys were arguing about which one would come up, and then y'all
Y'all
came up.
came.
We're not usually this way.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to visit with you, and we're going to take just a few minutes of your time. And the Western Reserve RC&D has been in operation for, well, since about 1991 or 92. And it's a 9-county conservation-oriented organization. And the full council consists of memberships from the super county commissioners, soil and water conservation districts, and a person elected at large. And we've been having our meetings on Thursday by the bylaws, which eliminates some of the commissioners from not being able to come.
Yeah.
And that's, we're trying to make some changes on that. With our bylaws, we updated it to able to set our meetings at any time we want to now. We meet quarterly, full council meets quarterly. And Tony Gall signed the agreement that Geauga commissioners will be a part of this, so that the.
Way
Way back then. And so that the commissioners has a seat on the council, the district has a seat on the council, and you're at large has a seat on the council. 29 counties, 3 representatives, 27 members. And we feel bad that you haven't been able to attend because your meetings are on the same day. And hopefully that with the change in our bylaws, this can be changed and you can come visit with us once in a while and have send an alternate. We're just going to, I've got some information here. Some of the things that we have done in the last few years, there's copies for everyone there. This is our last year's. We are a nonprofit, and we deal trying to work with improvements of different things that various organizations are interested in. And this is somewhat of our history, that we've had something in the neighborhood of $2.5 million of grants from private organizations to help us with our projects. And here's one I got, I have a couple more.
I want to add something about these grants. One of the things that we are particularly able and good at is helping local people who have good ideas and who want to get a grant. We will speak for them in terms of getting a local grant, but we can also hook them up with federal resources when those resources are tailor-made for that project. And that's the kind of thing that most people can't do for themselves. And our work in doing that has really helped launch a lot of things.
Well, I want to mention too, I'm president, Pat Carey is vice president, Nick County secretary, and Darrell Webster is treasurer, Bob Zeitz is a member, and John Nizelli is our coordinator, volunteer coordinator of the organization.
And that incorporates Ashton, Geauga, Geauga, Trumbull, and Lake. I'm just looking at the bottom here, so it's several counties.
There's nine counties involved.
9 counties, wow.
And we would like to think in terms of being able to have a better relationship with all the commissioners, and so this is the only reason why we're trying to come around and visit with you temporarily, and that you know more about what RCD is doing, and that you are a part of that. And even though you haven't had the opportunity of being with us, we hope that it can be changed in the past. A part of the program is working with projects coming from different counties. County commissioners can request or submit a project for some kind of a project that we can work on. And once we have that application, we can search out grants and complete the applications and maybe complete projects. And I've got some applications here how to submit a project to council. And we've had several, I won't say several, but some projects that have come from county commissioners, and we're working on a couple of projects. Geauga has been active in a couple of arenas because we have had the farmland, foodland, farmland?
Foodland and people.
Foodland and people program is pretty strong in Geauga County. And likewise with the Environthon. And Chagrin was a state champion last year. And they went down to state this year, and they placed third this year. They placed tied first in their oral presentation, so that you've got some pretty good kids that are really looking at trying to better themselves through a better understanding of their natural resources. And we have a letter from the teacher saying that some of those kids have gone on to develop professional careers in the environmental world, and just simply because of the working with the Environthon. So that Geauga County has been a receiver of a lot of our activities, and so that we wanted to bring this to your attention, so that there might be a possibility that we can further our working relationship.
I guess the only concern that I have with some of this is, well, two concerns. One is a lot of times with the grants, there's a lot of other strings attached as far as, different requirements that, we see come across the table on a lot of these different programs that sometimes aren't always favorable for the county in a sense of what the county would, is and wants to remain. It's almost, we take a small dollar value, and all of a sudden we have government control as far as what they're going to tell you have to establish in order to receive certain dollars. The other big concern of mine that we're seeing is we've got a lot of organizations in the state and even in this county that are big after a lot of the preservation of land and making sure that we have our waterways protected, and it's important. The problem that is many times overlooked, and it gives you a good feel-good position to do stuff like that, and I think that there's a big value to that, but we have to still run county operations, and what happens is every time there's a preservation of land like that, and it usually ends up into the form of a nonprofit or a government entity that is the takeout for that location, we end up with a situation where what we used to get in taxes, we no longer get taxes. And we try to continue to keep services in our county or improve services in our county with that much less dollars. And we just had a situation this year where the Cleveland Natural History Museum took a location in Bass Lake, which we were getting $27,000 a year in taxes from, and it's gone. It's finally transferred over to them. And in addition to that, I don't remember if they had Clean Ohio or if they had WRSP funds. I'm not sure how they exactly got the funds, but those were public dollars that went into that, that purchase. And now, in addition to that, our county suffers because we lose another $27,000 a year in tax revenues. That it gets to the point that we have to keep up with our employees as far as if they're making, they get a 3% increase today. When you look at across the board of 400 or 500 employees, it's a huge amount. And sometimes we do everything to keep our head above water to sustain, but then all of a sudden you've got to absorb those hits, and it's not the matter that tax base is gone for a year or two. It's gone forever, and that's something that, and I see just a little bit here as far as preserving public, some land and water conservation, and it's very important, but it's just, there's got to be a way to be able to do it responsibly to not affect the operations of the county, and funds are harder and harder to get in the state, and these grants become available because of the fact that they've taken away from more and more of the county's funding, but so they have these funds available to give out to grants, and then we get penalized the second time because now we lose tax revenue on top of it. And it's just a scary situation because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, and more property we put out these without with the loss of that revenue, I don't think that I'll necessarily see it within my time, but it's definitely a situation that we feel that as it continues and continues and continues, it's got to reach a peak, and it's just, I think that responsible planning is the key to making it work now and in the future, and it's just a food for thought, because it's just it's a big push right now, and it's been a big push, and unfortunately I think that a lot of people that are in very influential positions, and a lot of the developers have taken advantage of a lot of these different programs out there to basically take a lot of these locations that they have, and they've been able to build what they needed to. They've got this piece of property and turn it over. They're getting maximum dollar per acre, and on top of that, somebody's putting in a conservation easement on it. It's protected, but also at that point in time, the revenue is lost. And it's something that nobody likes to look at the negative side of things, but I think that those two things are always something that people have to be concerned, because there are strings attached to grants, and there are issues with the tax base, and I think that it's not unreasonable to just kind of have a little bit of an extra focus on that sometimes, and to make people aware of anything, everything you gain, you lose something else, and that's sometimes an unfortunate thing. It's just a fine balance, but I appreciate the fact that what you're doing, and I understand there is an important part of what you do.
I'd like to respond, Commissioner. I agree that we need to be thoughtful about these things, and Geauga, particularly because of the kind of land that it has been a place where a lot of conservation efforts have been focused. You're right, we do have to keep a balance on that stuff. One of the things that offsets the value of the non-taxed land, particularly when you speak about it around the development or otherwise, is I never sold real estate, but I worked for the real estate industry for a period of time, the board of realtors, and they found that the value of the residential property or other property, and indeed the value of just the general property in the community, goes up when there's a sufficient amount of green space. Not too much, put a sufficient amount in the right amount. So I think you're right, we need to work in that balance.
And to respond to that, you know, that has been certain trends, and I actually, I did a little bit of research on a couple of locations that had conservation easements within the last 12 years. And this is a hard time just because the real estate market being at an absolutely, different type of pace that it's ever been. But, in areas that they did go up because of, placement of a park or of a protection of property, the problem that we get that you don't see, and our tax department actually gets it more at our auditor's office, is that the taxes go up. And there's a lot of people that are within those confines of those locations where this is going, that now all of a sudden they're, especially for our elderly, they're living on a fixed income, and all of a sudden, by no power of theirs, all of a sudden they're in a position now where their taxes start to increase.
Because the value of the land.
Because of the property, yeah. So it's like, it's a burden that puts the burden on other people, indirectly, that they can't, if they're able to afford X number of dollars, and, and they, for whatever financial reasons, they didn't have a whole lot or whatever, and they're living on a certain fixed income, all of a sudden they get penalized now also because of that. So it's a situation that, I understand the value is that, but this is their home, but now they're having to pay that much more on their home because of the taxes are gonna go up based on the value of their house. So it's, like I said, everything you gain, you lose something else. So it's a situation, they gain value in their property, they're planning to live in their home till they pass on, but now they lose the fact that they've gotta pay more in taxes.
I would add, what's unique about Geauga County is that most of our properties, we get our water from well water. And it's really important to have well recharge areas. Without that, we have serious problems. And the other thing, a lot of the property that has been protected are areas of wetlands that you can never build on anyway. I know in Munson we had an area, when I was a trustee, that went into conservation, but it was all wetland. And that area is a well recharge area, especially for wells that have these artesian type wells. There's a lot of them in Munson, and that well recharge area that went into conservation was where a lot of those wells got their water from. And another place that was concerned was the golf course at Best Sand. That has been used as a golf course. We do get taxed from, but it's also protected. So in that instance, you got the best of all three worlds. So, it is important. We don't want to lose our tax base, but I don't think we've lost our tax base that significantly, and they don't make land anymore. And if you don't protect what you've got, then we will have a serious problem, and then the developers will come in and start building houses real close together. We have land use plans that incorporate our 16 townships, and those land use plans identify where there should be residential, where there should be commercial, where there should be light industrial. All of those land use plans have already looked at each township, the property, and how it should be utilized, and that's important. So I think, we've done our due diligence when it comes to how we're gonna use our land. And then when you look at our zoning has especially been put in place to protect our large lots. So that's why we have large lots. Many of the places have 3 to 5 acres requirement when you put a home in. So
I think if you look at that big sheet with all the funds on it, that money comes from private foundations.
Foundations, right.
And a lot of it goes for education processes and adults and students and whatnot, and none of that will affect what you're talking about.
Right.
And I think that I'm going to try to negate some of what you were saying, because all these programs that we have put on has increased the knowledge of the students and of adults of how to use things, how to make life better for themselves. And one example would be a Spanish garden, in fact, a program we had that took a program to help them grow a crop in migrant families. And it was designed to help them get to a place where they could have produce to take to the farm market. One of the projects was with Farm Oakland Farm Conservancy was helping people understand that there is a value to caring for the land. And that does not get into the tax base. It helps improve their way of life. This is essentially the vein of work that we are doing. And we're well aware of the change in values or whatnot. And so that most of the programs we have are bring value to the standard of living and the quality of life.
I know Chuck Lawson, who is our agricultural representative at the state, has said that all the food that we have produced since we've been in the last 200 years to the present time, he said, moving forward, all of the food that we produced in that area, we're going to be needing to produce that and more in the next few years. And without protecting the farmland for that reason, we are going to have serious issues if we don't do that. He says it's going to be a serious problem, and the farmers see it now, because we're feeding the world. You go into the area of Kansas and mid United States, there's an aquifer under there, and if you look at how they irrigate that area, they've got these circle farms and they irrigate, and there's this huge aquifer. Well, that aquifer is half gone now, right now. And during the Dust Bowl, we wouldn't have had the Dust Bowl if they realized they had all this water and they knew had the technology to pull it up and keep things irrigated. But we're going to have a serious problem, and they don't have water in California, where a lot of the fruits and vegetables are done. So
There was a story on morning news about this area and the dropping corn production because of weather issues.
And that's what Chuck says, we're going to have to produce what we have produced in the last 200 years in the next 10.
Well, we have a pretty favorable quality of life in Geauga County.
Absolutely.
It must be agreeable to most of us, or we would leave. And your agency is certainly, and what you offer is certainly something that we need to look at as another tool in the toolbox. And each project, each thing that comes before the county needs to stand on its own. It needs to be looked at individually. Is this good for the overall good of the order, if you will? I mean, is it an advantage to a developer? Well, maybe if it is, it's not necessarily that great an advantage to the rest of the community. It needs to be a balancing act, if you will, and you afford or present another tool that can be used to achieve that. It's not a carte blanche in either direction. Oh yeah, we're going to do every project, or oh no, we're not going to do every project, but a balance. And as time goes on, and we do run, they aren't making land anymore. So when you do something with it, it falls on our generation to maybe be a little more responsible, a little more insightful, do a little more research, instead of just, jumping in. And certainly, I appreciate anyway that you brought this information to us to look at. Off the top of my head, I don't know of an issue right now that we've got that's before me that we're thinking of, but I'm sure that there's somebody out there wants to do something with something they own or thinks.
It's kind of like, they talked about how coal is a problem in the environment. I spent the last 4 days listening to people in Kentucky talk about coal and what it has done. And one of the things that they brought up was that they put wind farms in Germany. And everyone's talking about the wind farms and the solar and all that. do you realize that they don't have enough power at certain times of the year, so they are now going to build 20 brand-new coal plants in Germany. You know, we aren't going to, you know, coal is a cheap way to get electricity, and it can't even compare to the wind and the solar and all. That's very expensive. So some of the things we want to get rid of, we end up finding out, hey, this wasn't such a great idea after all. And listening to these people, of course, the coal industry, they've got a reason to want to keep it going. But I don't know that we'll ever replace all those coal plants. So, you know, that's another issue that, you know, how do we balance the wind, the solar, the coal? Obviously, unless we find some other kind of technology, coal is it. 93% of the power.
Everybody squawks about
And you know,
money that's being spent environmentally until they're drinking their neighbor's
sewage.
and then all of a sudden it
Right.
becomes paramount to them that, oh my God, how did we get overdeveloped here? Or how did we?
So that's the issues that you face, that we're not really involved with.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so that,
But we have to
what we're
balance.
trying to do is, and we're, considering we're covering 9 counties, it's not everything what happened in Geauga. A lot of these things have happened in Geauga, Lorraine, Summit County, so that you're a part of that 9 county.
Right, no, I
We don't want to have happen what's happening in China today. I mean, you can't walk around China without a face mask. It's so
But there are
bad.
things like that we're doing that you would support.
Yeah,
Not that it's being done at Geauga County, but it's good for what
other areas.
the arena that we're working at.
Having your diverse thoughts that you brought up today, it's important to bring to the table for the RC&D council. That's why we welcome your input
Right.
at our council meetings. Some of the things you said
Yeah.
are a great balance to the things the other people are talking about.
I'll give you like a perfect example that you can take back with you is there, like we had a situation that came up in front of us here about, I don't know, maybe, when did they do that thing in Munson, like in Coliker?
What, the Caliker Fed, you
November
mean?
last year?
Caliker Fed?
beginning of the year.
Maybe the beginning of the year or right at the end of last year, and this was a situation where, you know, it was a fen that they, you know, where they had, it was an undevelopable piece of property, and you know, there's laws in place right now with the EPA as far as what you can, what you can't do, and what, you know, some buildable lots, and even our zoning protects that. But instead, what ended up happening, and I voted against it, but it was a situation where this individual received like $117,000 or $170,000 for 17 acres of this property that the Cleveland Natural History Museum came in and bought, and it was basically the guy's backyard, part of his backyard, and would have never been developable anyways, but yet we put public funding into this. You know, that's my taxpayers and everybody else's tax dollars. And in turn, we have a situation now that we also lost the tax revenue on that piece of property because it went to a nonprofit. So it's just a situation where I think that sometimes, I think that there are some good programs in that, but I also think that there are some gray areas where it goes above and beyond of things that are already protected and can't be built on, that why are we spending public funds on that when we could be putting it towards, you know, getting our servicemen and women overseas raises rather than putting it into somebody that's got a piece of property that's never going to develop it anyways.
I don't think that we really get into that arena. It's, what you're dealing is more.
Right, but you have to be
regulation.
aware of that because
Right, and
you
it's,
have some of the similar goals.
Right, and on things like that, that we would not be doing something without your
Right.
approval or consideration. And what you're talking about is good for us because we gain knowledge of how people think and work and want to do
Yeah.
things. And but if there was something that was somebody had come up with a project for Geauga County, you would know about it. And
You would be the decision
you'll
maker.
be part of the decision making on whether it moves forward or not. So it's, and this is one reason why that you're a part of the RCD as a representative from Geauga County, that you have firsthand information, things like that are happening or going to happen. If you take a look at that list again, that I don't think there's any one of those that touches on the things that you're talking about. I know that in some counties, the riparian rights is on streams and so forth, that's taken some of it. But that's, I don't think that's a serious factor here. The rules and regulations that you operate under, really, we're not involved in that type of stuff. Right?
Well, there was
You mentioned Envirothon and environmental sciences, and you mentioned a teacher that wrote you a letter.
Mhm.
Is that teacher from Chardon?
Yes.
Maryland Roar.
Maryland.
Okay, I spoke with Marilyn when we granted that Coliker Fen. I've known her since she hired in at the school district. And she has taken students there to this particular Coliker Fen and continues to take them there annually for learning experience and educational unit. And when I voted, along with Mary, passed that issue, part of the stipulation that I asked for, I don't think we got it in writing or anything like that, I said, you know, it'd really be nice if you made this available to the 7 school districts plus the parochial schools in Geauga County for learning and training. And I was told that that was happening, and when I spoke with Marilyn, she said, oh yeah, I've been there, and we have to be sensitive to what we wear and what kind of boots and where we step and so on and so forth. And the Chardon team has always been, in the Envirothon, they've always been near the top of the, if not the top, very near the top for years. That may not appeal to everybody in the world, which is understandable. I'm more of a mechanical, nuts and bolts type of personality, but I certainly respect and understand the people that are doing this and taking that as a career path to go forward. So I think that that's the area that I tried to allude to before, where everything has to be looked at individually. What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage?
Well, when you look at these projects, you have places where these monies come from. And with the Kelliker Fen, that was voted on by the people of Ohio overwhelmingly. That was Clean Ohio money. And the tax base that we lost was $600 a year. But the benefit we're getting for the students of Geauga County is a good thing, because a fen, as you know, is a well-recharged area. And that has been used by the Cleveland Museum of History for an educational process and what happens to our water environment. We have an issue here with our water, and we don't want to lose our clean water. We definitely don't. So you seem to be into that, a lot of that, with the water, natural resource.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's in Geauga County. We're dealing with 9 counties.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Ashton, Buick, Cuyahoga, Geauga Lake, Lorraine, Medina, LaGuardia, Summit, and Trumbull, quite a few counties.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have, or we don't have that project, as I said, on the, well,
We
you
don't
may
have
have
any-
down there in one of the other
I don't
counties.
see that we have
Here,
any
we don't have a
burner
project
here,
on the
but-
front burner. You're here to introduce yourselves to us, to talk about what it is you can do, what
You've got the Grand River watershed.
what support you can
And get ourselves reacquainted with one another.
exactly, and we haven't.
If we come before you again, why?
A lot of these are private
Yeah, well-
foundations who presented their money for these projects. I see the GUND and the Countryside Program, the Store Foundation.
But we would welcome your involvement, including your voice at meetings.
And we don't
There's
wanna lose-
no reason we shouldn't initiate dialogue and have discussions and look at you as another tool in the toolbox without you making a commitment, us making a commitment or anything else. It's kind of, it's a presentation, just what it says. You guys are coming to us after some period of time.
Yeah.
I didn't, shame on me,
Rockwell's in
I didn't
there.
know you existed, but You know,
Well, this is the
that's
first
not
time
your
we've
fault,
actually
that's my
really-
fault.
Yeah.
Well, no, that,
That's why
through time, turnover
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Right.
Since 1992.
Well, you're all volunteers?
Yeah.
You're all volunteers? Wow.
We're totally
We
volunteer.
used to
Totally
have a paid
volunteer,
employee,
huh?
but no longer.
Yeah. I knew you when you brought the treasurer of the Cuyahoga County out. Jim Rokakis, remember you brought him
Well,
out?
we appreciate your
Because you were-
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, that was many
I
years
hope we
ago.
can build a relationship and
Yeah.
continue to take part in
Thank
the
you.
future.
Okay. Thank you very much. You got,
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Thank you.
I'm looking for a phone number on any of this, is there? You have the contact information? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Carla.
Blake, thank you for the time.
Thank you for
Thank you, nice
coming
meeting
in.
you too. Yep. So much.
It's not gonna be
Thank
meeting
you.
you.
All right.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you.
You have an email address?
Bye now.
Volunteers. Oh, now you have another presentation?
Yes,
Presentation. Hey. Not too much money left for this.
Come on
Hey, how are
down.
you?
Getting smaller. Morning.
Good morning.
We today are here with some of our applicants that have applied for our CDBG allocation grant, formerly known as the Formula Grant. So we invited them to come and present their project request for the grant. We don't have everyone here, we have most everyone here, and we can follow your booklet choose, and then I'll go ahead and introduce. The first project that we have is Maple Leaf Residences, and we've done many projects for them in the past. This year, they're requesting new hood and suppression systems for some of their residences. And I believe Keith Borbeck is here today, and he can go
Maple
ahead
Leaf?
and fill you in on that.
First, I want to thank you for the past awards of grants that we've gotten from you. The most recent ones were for 18 emergency backup generators that have proved very useful over the course of the last 2 years, in that when there were power outages, we didn't have to relocate people from their homes to hotels. What I'm asking for this year in the grant is some fire suppression equipment for each one of the homes. The major cause of any fire or a fire in any home is usually from cooking. A lot of the fires start due to range fires, due to people not watching their cooking habits properly. The end result, of course, is disastrous in the way of house fires. What I want to do is install in each one of these homes a fire suppression system that in the event that there is a fire on the range, it puts it out immediately. Now, please be mindful that Maple Leaf already has central fire alarm systems in just about every one of our houses to make sure that, proper authorities can get called at any time. And of course, all of our homes are properly equipped, and fire extinguishers are checked every year. But, this is just one more level of protection for the safety of those folks who basically can't take care of themselves. There is staff that takes care of them, but many times, that worker is distracted by doing other things for the residents that they're in charge of. I will also add that this is a scalable project in that you can choose to fund part or all of it, at your whim. So that we would probably put the suppression systems on the houses we think are at most risk. That's about all I have, if you have any questions.
These are pictures of some of your homes, right?
How many
Typically.
homes are there? 20?
We have 22 properties, 20 single-family homes, a condominium, and we were recently given Chardon Assisted Living that's over on Clarendon Road. It was donated to us. And we intend to improve it to be able to accommodate folks that need it.
It used to be Geauga Kingdom Hall when you
Oh,
go in.
there?
Yeah, right? I
Chardon.
mean, they're at the bottom of the hill.
And there was Chardon Assisted Living that was
Yeah.
run by Lisa Jerome.
So you got that bill?
Yes, that was given to us.
Clarendon Road up in Chardon, when you turn off, and you go down the bottom of the hill, and it's right there on the right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right across from East King.
One thing I noticed about your Maple Hill, you really blend in with the community you're in. So one doesn't even know, you wouldn't even know that it was a Maple Leaf resident.
That's one of our goals, you know.
That-
The big telltale sign in many of our homes is the fact that we may have a wheelchair ramp leading up to the front door.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. It depends on the needs of the individuals that are in the home.
Aren't you gonna have some kind of event in September or something?
Yes, end of September, we will be having what we call, our event we call Raise a Roof.
Raise a Roof.
It'll be at the Federated Family Life Center last Saturday in September. And it's a fundraiser for the organization. We're also holding a fundraiser coming up at the end of this month, last Saturday of this month.
Oh, are you?
For the Metzenbaum Center Golf Outing, and we run that for them.
You won that.
And then the work would be done by Geauga County companies?
The work would be done by my employees. Just recently, we've gone from subcontracting out all our maintenance to having it internal. We find we get a better response that way. But to tell the truth, our staff would probably be trained by someone from North Coast Homes, who are our counterparts in Geauga County. Every one of North Coast Homes, 200 homes, have fire suppression hoods.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next applicant is Middlefield Village, and they've applied for the purchase and install of 10 new windows and new double doors. Are you?
Yes,
I was just gonna say, is anybody here from?
Hi, Mike Dunn.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Blake Rear, Mike Dunn.
Mike,
Everybody right?
Mike Dutton.
Yes.
John Dutton's child?
That's right.
John and Rita?
That is correct.
They used to live across, they lived across the street from me.
Yep.
Okay.
Was across the street.
So, thank you for taking the time to listen today. I'm here, we are looking to do some renovations for our senior center. It is also a community center as well, not just seniors use it, but that is the majority of the time the seniors use it. They use it Monday, pretty much Monday through Friday. They're not there on Thursdays, but they're there during the day, every day that week, as well as other people in the community are allowed to use the facility. There's a small fee attached with that, however. We are looking for, to replace 7 windows and 1 door. We've already replaced 2 other doors that are on the building at a cost of between $8,000 to $10,000. As I mentioned, the seniors throughout the entire county use this facility for different things. They have guest speakers come in, they play chair volleyball, they're very passionate about that. They do Meals on Wheels there. They have different meetings. They hold their meetings. There's a women's group that also uses the facility. They have guest speakers that come in. They reserve the facility once a month. It's, I believe, the 3rd Saturday of the month they come in and they hold guest speakers and things like that. Pete Capaldi will be doing all the work himself. And that's about it. Do you have any questions?
Windows and doors.
New windows and doors. 7 windows, 1 door.
I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions.
Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
Thank you for taking the time.
The next project applicant is Burton American Legion Hall. If you've ever been to Burton, I'm sure you've attended one of their pancake breakfasts, and you know how well known they are for that, and their great attendance for that. They are applying to ADA improved buildings, restrooms, and their entryway, which they really do need to be renovated. ADA compliant to serve, you know, their clientele and all that traffic that they get in for their breakfast and so on. And today we have, I'll introduce Frank McBride. He's the commander of the post. And you all can come on up and Frank can introduce everyone else.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Mike
Frank.
Farrell.
Nice to meet you, Mark. How are you? Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mike.
Mike?
Doing great.
Hi, Skip.
Doing
Hi.
great. Working at the Treasury Building.
Actually, I think you and I are somehow related.
Good morning.
I'm related to a great deal.
You know Bobby Durham? And she, I think, yeah, that's my sister. Yeah. Yeah, you and I had some.
You're related.
I think it goes way back to Thompson.
No.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate this opportunity to present the need for the American Legion to upgrade their facilities to ADA requirements. As Kelly mentioned, you know, we have a claim to fame about our pancake breakfast. That's not the only thing that we do as fundraisers. Over the year, we present some 30 different opportunities to raise funds. As a result of some of that, this year, we're proud to announce that we're going to be giving out 6 scholarships to Burton College-bound students, along with other community affairs that we support. It's been asked to bring statistical information. In these 30 affairs, we have anywhere from 25 to 400 guests. Pancakes are probably our most popular, probably averaging some 300 people every weekend. I think the most interesting thing that I came across, and looking back 3-4 years ago, we had Burton sewer assessment. And not to sound any other way, but to bring a number to you, we were assessed for 3,000 flushes, which, and when you take a look at it, what percentage of those people were disabled, senior citizens, mature citizens, whatever you want to say, how can we help support them? Our facility is in need of a lot of upgrading to accommodate these people. The environment that we're in, a lot of these guests that are participating in our fundraisers are coming from outside Geauga County. So we're giving them a fair representation as to who we are, what Geauga County represents to them. And I think that's important, that they see that we're out there with their concerns in mind. And that's basically it. Any questions or? No? Once again, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Plus, the other thing to add is as far as an emergency response center too, is if there's any form of a disaster or any need for, you know, power outages or whatever in your area, that facility is always available too for that, and we appreciate the fact that that's, you know, that's put out there. It's a big plus for Burton to have a facility that's available if, you know, in need, or any, you know, community surrounding it too. So it's a big, you know, big advantage to have you there, and we definitely appreciate all your services.
Certainly, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ralph. But I'd like to add to that somewhat, in as much as the fire department is designated as an emergency center.
Yeah.
But if you're in an emergency, they can't handle all of it. They need to be handled. Our post sits within the village, so
That would be another place.
it could be used for that purpose. And most definitely, we are community minded, and we do have Boy Scouts meet in there. There's a great deal of community
Yeah,
attachment to it, so.
absolutely. No, appreciate it. Yeah. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
a good day.
You too. Good seeing all of you.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye, Frank.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, Douglas, yep.
The next project is Pleasant Hill County Home, and you're aware that we usually do a little bit there every so often, every few years. This year, we are applying to replace the kitchen flooring. It's cracked, it's broken. Sanitary-wise, I'm not sure how sanitary that is. So we're requesting to replace that and to renovate and rehab the back hallway where there was previously water damage and stains in it. It just needs a little bit of, needs fixing up there. So I believe Karen DeCola's here.
When we skip over time.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oops.
You forgot number 4.
Oh, let her go.
Let her go.
Let her go.
Sorry.
Let it go.
That's why I didn't. I wrote it.
Where's Thompson?
How you doing, Karen?
I'm good.
Good, good.
Okay, the continuing saga of fixing up the oldest building around here. You guys have done, there's been a lot of grants that are, community block grants that have been used there. We're very grateful for them. Without that, that building would be in bad shape. It really would, because there's just no way that that's within my budget to be able to continue to upgrade or replace things. So bathrooms that he did last time it's amazing. They're not clogged up all the time.
How good.
I know. Remember when I said
Yes.
these are clogless
All
toilets
the
and you guys
time.
all laughed? Yeah. But they really are. It's been very, very, and it was really well done. It looks very nice. So what this is the lower level. This isn't the basement. The lower level is, and there's a back hallway, which is an emergency egress, and it's a way of getting, in the old days, that wasn't even there. That there were emergency staircases, those metal kind that they used to have for fire.
Oh, sure.
Fire escape.
Yeah.
Right, so when they tore all those down, and this is like, it's just like a pass-through between the two units that are back there. There's a men's unit and a women's unit on that side, and this way you can get back and forth between them to use the facilities. That sounded kind of creepy, but I'm letting them know. Anyway, so there's that, and they're replacing the floor. We've had an ongoing problem with leaks, but they fixed it. The ceiling's not leaking anymore, or the roof is not leaking anymore, but after 15 years of trying to remediate that, it's gross. It's it's a plywood ceiling that is now ripply like this, and it really does need to be replaced.
Did they check that for mold up in there? Has that been done?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm not gonna say that. I have not been
Okay.
responsible for doing that. Glenn may have.
Well, I
and
didn't
I
know.
don't know
I'm
that,
just asking if it's
But I'm not
water
thinking-
and it's
I
in
know,
there.
now that I'm saying that, there very well could be something there, but we haven't found it in other places. We've been very lucky down there, so it's not too bad. It's also new.
It's a $3 million project, but $25,000 to us
Is a lot.
is a lot of money, all right? So I'll go on and do my little spiel here. In 2012, a committee of 4 was formed, and they were looking at the building, which is now in this grant, the community center. It had been known as our town hall. That was built in 1867, so it has a lot of history. It is another old building within the township. When you look at that building from the outside, I mean, it is picturesque. I mean, you look at that square, you can see the impact of New England there, because it typifies the Western Reserve. But you walk into that building, it hasn't been used, as Kelly said, for 20 years. There isn't any heat. There aren't restroom facilities in there. And so there's very limited use. And one of the uses is that on Memorial Day, we have a memorial service. We have a old-time social.
Totally supported by volunteers.
By volunteers, all right? Unfortunately, it is not handicap accessible. There are no restrooms within that building. So people that need to get in the building because they're disabled, they cannot get into this. So fortunately enough, our volunteers bring the cookies and the coffee to the people. So now I lost where I was going to go with that. So anyway, so the
Why do you
committee,
need them back?
yes, the committee came to the trustees and said, can you help with this building? And we did what we could afford to do. We took a look at the building, we did some, it's got a slate roof, we did some repair on the roof, we did some touch painting on the outside, we did some siding repair, we had some trees that needed attention because I'm sure you're familiar with that area, it's on rock. All right, so those trees, many of them have reached their potential. Had those.
We got the wall.
Oh, yes, and then we needed water there, and a gentleman that was associated with the community of Davis Water said, I can bring you water, because there was a well there, and he donated the pump, the holding tank, everything to us. And that's where it went. So the committee, really there were actually 2 women that were really involved with it, became dormant. And then we heard, the trustees in March, that there could be possibly formula funds available. Well, one of these women lives in my house. And
I hope it's the right one.
yeah, it is the right one, and she's lived there for 41 years. So, of course, after 41 years, we still talk. And of course...
Congratulations.
Yes. Well, once I mentioned to her that the possibility that there could be help, it was like off to the races. And this time, once people hear that there may be help, you get more involvement.
Sure.
And it's incredible that 4-person committee now has 17 members. And since March, well, I wouldn't say it was March, it was more like April, they have been meeting weekly on Tuesdays. And we have been working, or they have been working, we kind of are part of the committee, the trustees, but we have stood back and let these volunteers handle this whole process. And it's been really, really interesting to see what they've come up with in working with Joni and the requirements that are made by this formula grant, and how they've worked through it and did a survey of the community and got some responses. And the number of volunteers that this network has created, over 30 people have come forward and said that they will volunteer their donating materials, donating money, donating their time to work on projects. And one of the projects that this committee is working on, aside from the community center, is the painting of our administration building. And they came to the trustees and said, if you pay for the paint, we will get it done. And they are going to...
It's quite a project.
It is quite a project. It is badly in need of paint in some...
Inside you're talking?
No, outside.
Oh, outside.
Administration building. Our administration
Oh, your
building.
administration.
That's another building that
I
we
thought that was
have.
correct.
And the thing is, what is really interesting that I'm finding is, yes, it's a $79,000 grant. It is cash. But the strength of this project is the community involvement that we are seeing. Like I said, the people that have come forward and have pledged this help. Trying to think what else there was.
4th of July, we have a big 4th, all communities I'm sure have big, but we have a very big 4th of July get together, and it's, again, supported all by volunteers.
So, but unfortunately, we do not have any restroom facilities
So it's
there.
much needed.
And, you know, I mentioned those two things earlier. This whole revitalization of that area is tied to the sewer, because it's basically the same footprint in a sense. And it is a low to moderate income area, you know that. Also, I didn't mention that we've also received some corporate donations or commitments to us, which is, to me, pretty impressive. I don't know, Frank, did I miss anything? And
No, we probably did, yes.
yeah, okay. So I don't know. Do you have any questions?
It sounds like a movie line, if you build it, they
They
will
will
come.
come,
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's,
If you give them a leg up,
yeah. Get them started and
the community will respond with, or tentatively,
yes.
hopefully,
I
they
think we
promise.
showed that we have.
You're right, well, I
Use
meant,
it
you know,
again,
going
and
forward.
use it again.
Yeah, we would use it again,
That'd
and
be great.
I had a couple opportunities where,
We may get, we have options on possible renting
yeah, renting, but,
if,
So-
to help pay for the
Upkeep,
updates.
yeah,
So,
it's a good thing
yeah,
with that sewer project.
yes.
and the sewer project.
But be careful what you wish for, you're gonna have to be putting parking in, expanding the parking lot.
Well,
drive-
that's,
Everything.
that is looked at, and that is part of one of our
Wish
corporate,
list, yeah.
yeah, and our corporate sponsors or is.
That's a problem that's a good problem to have.
Yes.
I'm
Good
just
problem.
kidding.
Yes. Yes,
And the
exactly.
state, we're working with the state transportation.
Because we have some traffic issues around our square of speed, and it's a single lane, but at times, it's a freeway, and in times people think it's 3 lanes.
They don't realize it's a traffic circle.
Yes,
A lot of people don't realize that it's a traffic
but
circle.
all this is kind of, interconnected in a sense. And like Mr. Burr said, if you hang that carrot out there, they come. And my wife and I have lived there, well, we raised 4 kids there, that whole story. But through this, I met some other people that, new people. So it's been an interesting ride. So are any questions?
I don't have any, thank you.
Okay.
So can I add the other half of the story here? That,
Or the rest of the story.
the rest of the story.
Paul Harvey or?
The formula grant that the commissioners are familiar with has now
Yes.
kind of morphed into what they're calling allocation grant.
Oh.
And this year, for the first time, we are able to tag on to that grant and request revitalization funds
Oh.
for $300,000. And those
Really?
funds can be used for the things that were mentioned, the parking, the total renovation of the community center, sidewalks, playground equipment. There's a lot of things that money can be used for. So we are going to also apply for that along with the formula grant, since it's one in effect this year when we apply.
So can you hang on to that over the years, or does he have to use it
No,
all
they
in
would,
1 year?
they would have to use that, there's a 2-year grant period.
Oh, I see.
So everything would
So
have to
they
be
come
completed by 2016.
I see.
So, with the commissioner's help with the formula, that's great, or the allocation, that will get them their furnace, it will get them their ramp, and it will get them their 2 ADA bathrooms. But
That's
there's
big.
certainly more work that needs to be done. We would
Right.
like to see, the insulation put into the building, new drywall. There's some areas where the floor is unsafe. There are other things that we, have talked about.
What condition is the roof?
Excellent.
It's good, it's
Okay.
slate.
Okay.
Look at that,
Yeah,
look at that post and
It's
beam
even-
building.
It's straight.
Yeah,
It's
the ridge,
And no
the ridge
cracks?
is, after.
You don't
Slate
understand,
roof.
many times people talk about all the improvements they're gonna make and they
Yeah.
forget to look up on the top, and then
Yeah.
when the water comes in, it's
Yeah.
So
it's
we've actually had,
self-destructive.
Actually,
the township had it inspected, and then we had an architect come back in April.
Yeah.
and I'm a contractor.
Attorney, can I
I
ask
know
a
that's good or
question?
bad.
You know, The public may ask the question, this sounds really good, what are the strings? What are the commitments?
There
to
really aren't
the-
any strings. This is money coming straight to, we have we have talked a lot with the township about, if you want to call them strings, the state is looking for citizen participation. In all the years I've been doing this job, I have never seen citizens' participation like Thompson has provided. They are so gung-ho on this project.
There's no
And
kind of ongoing commitment,
there's
any kind
no-
of program
there's-
or anything
No,
going forward?
there's not. The string is, they want leverage, and we've even been able to, as Frank and Cook said, get some corporate leverage. We've gotten individuals to donate.
Fire department.
The trustees have even donated.
And that's a good thing, because as you know, we've had
wonderful.
programs in the past where money's been given for community projects, and there's almost like an apathy on the part of the recipient group.
Right.
And they didn't really seem to value and take care of what they'd
Right.
been given.
Right.
And that's really
That,
sad.
I think that's not the case here, because if you would have seen we're doing the narrative now, and my narrative is like an inch thick. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, we have pictures of people at the meetings, pictures of people at Farm Fest, people with, at the donation sites, and the surveys, and, you know, it's just been phenomenal. It's been incredible. So,
And when she mentioned the survey, we have a couple that live in the township, and they do the township's IT, and they have really gotten on board, and you should see the quality of the work that they do. It's almost, no, I'm not gonna say that. We're an old school township, all right? We have a maintenance department. All right?
Yeah.
And you look at the quality of their work, it's just, it's not old school by all means. Isn't it, Joni? They
Absolutely.
really, and they are, whenever Joni has said anything to them, it's, after a meeting, you go and you wait a half hour and you go online,
it's there.
it's there. They're
That's cool.
just, they are just,
That's
and
great.
that's just the level
Well, that's
of,
the involvement.
and the
One
involvement
other
of the
thing
people.
I want to throw out there, we are internationally recognized
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
by them.
Well, I don't know if you.
The aluminum connection?
Yeah, the aluminum
Yes,
connection,
aluminum.
yes.
The aluminum.
And that's kind of a, you know, I got that on my, there's a particular house there on the square where CM Hall was born, and I am not letting that go, all right, because, oh, Mary, it is a mess. It was almost embarrassing when the
It's a
Japanese
mess, I'm not
children.
gonna let it go.
Yeah, well, it's that's.
So you wanna work on that?
Yeah, we're gonna work
That's
on
down
that.
the
And
road.
then another outgrowth of this is, and
Yes.
Frank and I were talking about it on the way in, Thompson Historical Society.
Yes.
We're losing all of those,
People with knowledge.
yeah.
Do you have an oral history project going on? You should
Well,
be
we are,
taping them.
many of them
Like
are
they did
in,
at Kent,
as the
you
fire
know?
chief says, they are in the, Maple Grove condominiums at the cemetery, all right, and that's,
Did you check with Kent to see if they hadn't done that?
We-
Because we had a pretty extensive project, I mean, that was some years ago,
that
back
is,
in the
that
80s.
has been an outgrowth of this whole project. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's a group there that they're interested in
More
getting
volunteers.
something
who wanna
going.
get involved
The
in.
Maple
So,
Grove.
yeah.
So they've got a quarterly newsletter that goes out, and in the last quarterly newsletter, they did request for citizens that are interested
Yeah,
in
sure.
becoming part of the historical
Yeah.
society to step up.
Yeah,
One
it's-
thing
But I'll
about,
bet you there's a lot of oral history projects, because when Stan Garfunkel was doing that at Kent
Okay.
State, from I'd say it was from 80 through the 80s, I mean, very extensive
I think
oral
that
history
might be
projects, and they were recruiting a lot of folks from Thompson
Yeah.
and from the whole area of
Yeah.
Geauga County. You'd
I
be
think there
surprised.
is,
I'll bet there
Yeah.
are some there, you know, you might inquire, because that's
We
very
just
well.
need to go to the county's archivist, is that what she's saying?
No, you'd go to Kent State University,
Okay.
go over there, and they
Okay.
have all of those in there. That was a very extensive project.
I mean, the record center may have some.
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
one thing
I
about
think-
Thompson, it's an entry point for the county.
Yeah.
It sure is.
When you get off of 90 on
Yeah.
528 and you come into Geauga County, which is a jewel in Ohio,
Yeah.
and take no offense, my grandmother was born in Thompson,
Oh,
so
Yeah.
but when you come down to the square, town center,
Yeah.
it's almost like the time that, or the land that time forgot. To a certain-
You never grow old there, that's a joke, running joke that we got.
And
They have
Yes,
a
there's
clock
a-
in their
Two of
ledges
them.
building,
Two of
and
them.
neither one of them works
Works
their
their
stops.
stop.
And they said, Thompson, where time stands still. That's their.
well, they're right twice a day.
But
I told him that. I did tell him that.
in light of what you mentioned, okay, I'm going to get on my soapbox in a minute or two. Unfortunately, no, this is a serious one. I mean, a really serious
We're
one.
going on the big soapbox.
The big soapbox. We have, in essence, been cut out from the county, and I'm talking about down at the state. We are with Capri Cafaro, and we are
Well,
with,
so is Chardon.
well,
So am
still,
I. I'm in
yeah.
Hamden.
And that just, you know.
Well, they split that. That's,
Yeah, and
that's a
with Mr.
legislative
Patterson, you know, that just kinda,
Although he came and spoke at our meeting.
yeah, he came and
It says
spoke
that in
and,
newsletters.
yeah.
He sat here.
Yeah, he's been here many
But
times.
it's, you know,
Well, I don't know why they split the district. and put
but
two
it's what it is.
legislators.
I
There's like
mean,
4
it's-
legislators.
they
We
know
get
something we don't know.
quite a few compliments. We're always getting a compliment on our square. Weddings at the gazebo.
Gazebo.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, if,
Entertainment in the park, another
if this,
volunteer.
if this happens, then it opens that building as a community center that we could rent that out for
That's-
small groups of,
Yeah.
what was the number, 50 or less?
77, I think.
Yeah,
77.
seven.
Well, it's still.
So, and right now, the only group that uses it, and they use it in the winter, now remember, no restroom,
Snowmobile guy.
snowmobile
Yeah.
club.
Snowmobile.
Yeah,
Hug your
snowmobile
snowball.
club.
I don't care that it's cold.
Yeah.
They don't care 'cause
yeah,
it actually
they
is
love
warm.
out being out in it, so. All right,
Thank you.
you are welcome.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for the sewer, I'm telling you. That is just, it's unbelievable.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay. Jessica, how are you?
I'm well, how are you today?
Good. Sorry
Morning.
for a little bit of delay here.
Well, yeah, you got a few more minutes to say
It
that.
almost sounds new. The Department on Aging, we were approached by our local branch of the Catholic Charities to see if we would be a work site for their youth program. And the Youth Lead program, what they do is they have a group of youths who they actually pay to work, and they provide a job coach because they need a little assistance with maybe task segmentation and or social skills. So it is an education and work program. And what we would do with these youths is link them with our chore and home safety program. So the seniors who had needs that fall outside of our home safety program, maybe they need yard cleanup, assistance outside windows washing, maybe gutter cleaning. Those are things outside of our scope. So this is an opportunity for a job coach to go on site with these youths to see if we can go above and beyond for the seniors.
Okay, if we could read number 4.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the worksite agreement with Catholic Charities Corporation doing business as Catholic Charities Diocese of Cleveland for participation in the 2014 Geauga Youth League Employment Training Program for the period June 16, 2014 through August 1st, 2014.
Motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica, will you send about 6 of those kids to my house? I'm serious.
Well, it cleared out in here. If you have a need, give us a call.
I'll send Gloria, she'll tell you.
Give us a call. Give us a call. Ask for Sherry or Bob, okay?
I do, my son is worn out.
Hey Jessica, did you talk to them about the class that's coming up? Because I see a number of seniors there, they might be involved.
Okay.
Speak.
Well, I'll speak. Okay. Do you want me to go back on camera? I don't know.
We'll get you on camera, we're coming.
Don't worry, the camera moves.
Yeah, we'll come to you.
You are in trouble now.
Just an update from the Department on Aging. We are doing some programmatic changes. Some of the focus that I am looking at is structuring programs so we focus on education,
wellness and excursions. We really want to capture the folks who have just turned 60. Maybe they're still working. So we're trying to offer evening and weekend programs as well as specialized programs. Well, you're eligible when you're 60, you know? So one thing Mr. Claypool has offered is to teach some technology classes, which are well needed. You know, I have a lot of seniors who they're using their cell phones and they're asking me, can you teach me how to text? I heard I could see my granddaughter in my phone. How do I do that? She lives far away. So I think this is just a great opportunity to continue connecting families. So many folks, you know, they have children with jobs in other places. Their grandchildren are in different states just because, you know, that's where they could get jobs. So to be able to provide that avenue and the education to keep families connected and see each other eye to eye, not just during the holiday season, I think that is so priceless. So we're very grateful to have Mr. Claypool come over to all of the senior centers scheduled him to go out. So I think that's fantastic. So
You're too young, Ralph, just pointing that out to you. You won't be able to come over.
So if you would like to learn smartphones and some other tablet applications.
Maybe
smarter than I am.
Well, take the sun break.
Yeah,
learning.
I just bought one a month ago and I'd like to sell it.
I like when he goes.
At least you're not willing to throw it against the wall.
He's
Well, yeah, he does.
It's very durable, because it has bounced off a number of walls already, and it still works,
You got
unfortunately.
the same one I've got.
Well, I'm gonna get a new flip phone, that's smart enough for me.
Well, thank you. We're
Yeah,
looking to
thank
enrich
you.
our
Thank you.
programming, so we're grateful for any assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye now. Tara, come on up, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, good.
She did a great job yesterday.
Yes,
Thank
you
you
were
very much.
fabulous.
Thank So I'm here to kind of update you on the mitigation plan and ask for your approval to put a public notice in. We are kind of at the final stages. Finished up the draft plan. We're going to have our final kind of review of the plan on the 16th on Monday. The group has been going through the draft from the beginning, so they've kind of seen it and kind of aware of what's going on within the changes of it. But we'll do our final meeting. Then we need to have a public review meeting, that final opportunity for the public to speak or to see the plan, and I'll come in and do a presentation on kind of what the planning process was and then what changes took place within the plan. And we'd like to do that on the 26th. So today I'm asking for approval to be able to put public notice into the Maple Leaf for June 19th. It'll also be posted at the libraries. Kind of one of the planning process within this, one of the guidelines is you have to do outreach within the community. And so this is another way to outreach to the community. Every time I go out to speak on anything, you know, to the nursing homes, to the Rotaries, any of that stuff, I pretty much try and bring up the mitigation plan, so at least we're kind of getting some outreach out there into the community.
You're gonna advertise this in one newspaper?
Yeah, we advertise it on the website, and then we put it in the newspaper, and then I also put it within all of the libraries, or kind of where we've done the outreach.
Can we modify that to 2 newspapers?
I can put it in 2
Well, we have one lone survivor from the press, and he's from a competitive paper, the Courier, is that the
Courier.
Times?
Grand Valley Times.
Times Courier. Right.
I'll have to check with their guidelines on being able to get the notice in. Maple Leaf has worked with me in the past and being able to get it in pretty quickly.
Just trying to accommodate
Get it in.
the 2 local papers, that's all.
Okay, if we could read number 5 then.
The Department of Emergency Services is requesting the board grant permission to advertise to give public notice on the review and revision to the local mitigation plan for Geauga County to be held Thursday, June 26, 2014 at 6:30 p.m. Notice of this public meeting will be advertised on June 19, 2014 on the county website.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved, thanks Tara.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
And, number 6, Karen is not here. Commissioner's office is requesting the board approve a public officials bond continuation certificate for Karen DeCola, Geauga County, Pleasant Hill, home superintendent in the amount of $20,000.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Motion approved. And then, Number 7, Dave or?
These are, all- I mean, these are documentation requirements of completing the transfer of the Center Street property, so that all 4 of these are.
So do we want to just read all 4
Yeah.
individually?
Read them all.
All 4, okay.
7 through 10?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do all of them together, just so
Okay.
you know too, each, both you and the city of Chardon are each signing a set. So that's why their signature is not on the document, because
They're doing theirs at the same time?
They're doing theirs at their own meeting, and then they will go to lawyer's title, and then you'll get a copy, at the end. There is no names on here, you just pick a line. And,
First come, first served.
also on this set, there's a lot of spots on each page that you need to initial on each section, as well as signing.
And all of those were
This is
of
Laura.
course, approved by Laura?
She's the one that did
Laura's
all of
changes.
these.
She did all.
Those are Laura's changes.
She's
Okay,
lining out
okay.
areas she doesn't want you to agree to.
Okay.
As well as the warranty deed that, she drafted.
Thank you.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the confirmation letter to lawyers titled that item 6.4 deed restrictions will be handled outside of the closing. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve, execute, and initial the appointment of escrow agent and conditions of acceptance and escrow with Lawyers Title Agency LLC. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Settlement Statement. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the warranty deed with the City of Chardon for parcel number 10-700800 and 10-709-568.
Make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney? Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Abstain. Okay, for the acknowledgements, we've got the dog warden report, the monthly investors report. Meetings, we've got NOACA, finance and audit 8:30, grievance or governance on at 9:30, and executive at 10:30. That's on the 13th. The 16th, family first, 2 p.m. at mental health. The 17th is the Geauga Growth Partnership annual meeting at Fowler's Mill. 17th, we have the Commissioner's Office. We'll hold the regular session, and we'll include the public hearing number 2 for the Community Development Block Grant. The 17th, the Portage Juvenile Detention Center hearing at 3 o'clock, and then I believe there's another one at 3:30.
The meeting is right after.
Right after.
Yes.
Then the 23rd, Board of Revisions, Mr. Rear will be sitting there. The 24th, Investment Advisory Board, that'll be here 9:45. On the 24th, we also have a Commissioners will hold a regular session, and will include a public hearing at 10:30 a.m. for the Geauga County 2015 tax budget, in which I think that the auditor will have something available for the public if they wanted to
I think he's already
No.
sent.
review that.
Well, no, this is actually, this is the review of what Heidi is
Okay,
produced.
okay.
So we'll have a PowerPoint and we'll go through the tax budget, which has
Okay.
estimated
It's
revenues,
set to that.
estimated expenditures. It's just, it's a tax budget, it's not the actual operating budget.
Okay, I'm saying for, as far as for the public to have something prior to the meeting, can they get that from the auditor, or?
I think once the,
No, this is your part.
This
that
is
you
This is the
already
hearing.
sent
And then it gets
to
sent
and
to
then
the
it gets
auditor.
sent to the auditor, it's on
Has to be done by the
display
15th.
Okay.
prior to the final
Okay.
adoption of the tax budget.
All right. And then on the 25th, Perry Nuclear Power Plant training exercise at Quail Hollow. And the 26th, the Commissioners will hold a regular session, and that'll be at nighttime, 6:30. That'll include the review of the revisions of the mitigation plan for Geauga County.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Hold that thought. I have two things.
Already said motion to adjourn.
The state auditor's office, we talked about on Tuesday doing the post-audit meeting, they cannot do the first, it has to be done by June 30th. Now, while there is not a requirement to actually hold this meeting, they offer it to you as a way to go over the audit with you. They are asking if there's a possibility we could do Tuesday 11:30, but I also asked them if they could come in at like 5 o'clock on the 26th and do it prior to the evening meeting, because we talked about not during the day. So is there one of those days that would work better for you
Tuesday.
guys? So you're saying Tuesday?
For me.
Would be
If it doesn't
following
work for
session.
you and you want me to meet with
Tuesday
them
the
and I
24th
could
following
convey to you
session.
any issues, we could do it that
That's
way
fine.
too.
I'm signing here, so Tuesday, is that the day we go to Portage as well?
No.
No, that's the
the following.
17th.
It would be
That's
the week-
at the
it would
end
be
of the
the week
week,
after
end of the
that.
year, week.
Oh,
year,
okay,
end of the
okay.
month.
Yeah,
Okay,
24.
motion to adjourn then. Do you have anything more here to sign?
oh, yes. We